Hello again. I hope you're seated again somewhere comfortably, safely, and that there is a notebook by your side, a pen or a pencil. Now, if you remember, last time we had a little lesson about adjectives and adverbs of manner and how you can deploy these, use these to describe the way people behave and the way people are. And today, we're going to continue along that line, and you will be able to use some adverbs before adjectives to amplify them. I'll give you some examples. Now, first, I'm going to let you hear 3 to 4 recordings, and I'll ask you some questions. And when I do, of course, pause the video and give me some answers. Now, these people will talk about other people that they admire, other people that they look up to, they like. Listen and try to note the qualities that they attribute and give to these people.
Jessica Davis.
My English teacher. She's incredibly talented and creative, and she has a great sense of humor. She's pretty disorganized, though. She forgets something almost every class, but her classes are absolutely wonderful.
All right. Question: who does this young lady admire? Why? So again, as I ask, pause the video, maybe reread what she said, and give me an answer. Good. Next.
Mike Kowalski. I really admire a guy in my karate class. He's extremely competitive, but when he wins, he's not arrogant like some of the other guys. He's not very outgoing, so some people think he's unfriendly, but I think he's basically just shy.
All right. Maybe a few vocabulary items there to dismantle and explain. Competitive, right, comes from competition. We say a person is competitive if they really like to win. Okay? So they like competition, they like to compete against others, but for a purpose. They want to come out as winners out of those competitions. So we say the person is competitive. Oh, in this case, he is extremely competitive. Arrogant, arrogant, someone who is full of himself or she's full of herself. Let me write that down. A person full of himself. They have a high they have a high opinion of themselves. Again, a good thing to do here is to jot these down on your notebook. That way you will memorize them best. It means arrogance. The opposite of that is humble. Someone who is humble or who has humility. Humility is the noun, humble is the adjective. They're humble. Although they're better than others, but they don't like to show that, or they don't they don't display happiness that they are better than others. Maybe deep inside they feel good and satisfied, but they don't show that to others so as not to hurt them or to seem arrogant. Outgoing. An outgoing person is someone who's friendly, who's friendly to have around, easy to talk to. So some people think he's unfriendly. Of course, friendly, the opposite, unfriendly. Not an easy person to be your friend. That's what unfriendly means. If it seems like they want to keep their private space, they don't want others to intrude into their private space. That's, could be an unfriendly person. But if they do it to a great extent, of course, they become unfriendly. Everybody likes their privacy. So again, a question very quickly. Who does Mike Kowalski admire? A guy in his karate class, right? Why? Give me a couple of attributes or characteristics that Mike admires in his karate friend. Okay, next.
Brian Ewan.
I think my dad's a pretty cool guy. We get along really well. He's fairly easygoing and laid back, and he's very practical and down to earth, so he always gives me good advice. Also, he's completely honest with me. I can trust what he says.
All right, who does this person admire? You got that right, his dad. And why? Well, he says a bunch of things about him. He says he's a cool guy, maybe understanding person, understanding father. He's fairly easygoing and laid back. A laid back person is a calm person, you know, a person who doesn't worry about everything. You know, they face problems in a calm manner. They don't fret and fuss. Couple of words. You know, they don't fret and fuss. You know, fret and fuss, they make a fuss when there's a problem or an issue. The way they react to the problem becomes the problem. All right. Now, I'd like you now to pay attention to the words that come right before the adjectives. Here, he is a pretty cool guy. He's a pretty cool is an adjective, right? So pretty here is an adverb. Pretty cool guy. He's fairly easygoing. All right. He is very practical. Take a look at very. All right. He is completely honest, 100% honest. So what is this? What is this completely honest here? I just want you to reflect on it. How about these words that we put before adjectives? They are adverbs. Grammatically, they are called adverbs. And we put them right before adjectives. And what's the purpose of them? They amplify those adjectives. They make them more weighty. They make them carry more meaning. There's a difference between saying, my friend is honest, and saying, my friend is completely honest. There's a difference. The second one, there's more weight to it. It means that person is 100% honest. Not one time did I experience dishonesty from him. All right. Maybe a vocabulary check. I'll try to zoom out of these. So again, like we established in the introduction, I hope that you are watching this on your laptop or tablet so that you can see the big screen. Otherwise, if you're playing this on your phone, you might not see clearly the whole page. And for this particular exercise, you're gonna have to look at the whole page for help. So it says here, which of the personality words or expressions above describe these qualities? It's like pulling out the different words, vocabulary, and their definition, matching them with their definitions. Winning is very important to you. It means you're competitive. So just pause the video and answer the questions. I'll give you the keys. I'll put this one here, and here are the answers. You handle small problems well. It means you're practical, down to earth. People can always count on you. It means you are reliable, helpful. You don't get along with people, you know? You don't get along with people. You prefer the company of yourself. It means unfriendly. You like to have fun with people. Outgoing. You're not relaxed around people. Shy, right? That's the definition of shy. You're not relaxed around people, meaning if there are people around you, you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel yourself. You're relaxed about life. That's laid back, remember? Easygoing or laid back. You never cheat or steal. That's honesty. you're honest. You're not well organized with your life, with your time. You don't manage time well. So that's has to do with organization. The opposite is disorganized. You think you're the best. You think you're the best. You're full of yourself. You're arrogant. I'm sorry? I'm very sorry I skipped one. No, you can do a lot of things well. You're good at least one thing or many things. It means you're talented or creative. And you think you're the best. That's arrogant or selfish. And finally, you give a lot of time or money, meaning you help others with your time or even money. It means you're generous, right? You're generous. Generosity. At any time you feel that I'm moving a little faster than I should or than you can always pause the video, take a screenshot of specific things that you need, maybe this vocab, maybe the whole thing, right? Take screenshots and put them on specific folders on your desktop and name them. Maybe name them Lesson A, since you've watched the 20 minutes, Lesson A. There's a little folder called Lesson A, and in it you put all the screenshots of these different things. So maybe one day, you want to refer back to them if you forget something or you want to revise something later on. All right, put this here back. So what's all this about? What's all these adverbs before adjectives and adverbs about? Well, you use incredibly, think of them as categories. 1, 2, 3, 4 categories. Use incredibly or extremely, very, really, and so to make some adjectives and adverbs stronger. This is one, okay? I have an adjective. Say the adjective talented, generous, cool, right? And I want to amplify these adjectives. I want to make them stronger, as I said before. So I have a list of adjectives I can use, and these are incredibly, extremely, very, really, and so. Any of these you can use interchangeably with adjectives like these. The goal, the purpose to do this, the purpose behind doing this is to make those adjectives stronger. Now, pay attention to this. Use a couple of adverbs, which are pretty and fairly, and I'm sure you've heard especially pretty quite often, and maybe you don't know the meaning of that. Pretty is used to mean more than a little. Example, when you say he's pretty easygoing, it doesn't mean he's very easygoing. It doesn't mean he's a little easygoing, right? It doesn't even make sense to say he's a little easygoing or he's a little friendly. He's either friendly or he's unfriendly, or you could say he's pretty unfriendly, meaning it's more than a little. All right? Maybe think of it as enough. All right? Is enough friendly, or is friendly enough? So he's pretty easygoing. He's fairly laid back. He's fairly laid back, and remember, we said that laid back means he's calm. He doesn't fuss or fret when there's a problem. But if you say he is fairly laid back, it doesn't mean he's completely calm. If there's a serious problem, he will panic. He's a human being after all. But day to day, when you spend enough time around that person, you realize that person, is pretty calm with his life. He's laid back, laid back. And it has a literal meaning. It's like this. When a person goes like this, he's just laid back. He doesn't really care, He's taking his time. That's the meaning. Now, it says use absolutely or really, but not very, with adjectives that are already very strong. Now, there are adjectives which are they're complete, they are supreme in their own way. For example, adjectives like wonderful. And I don't say beautiful. You can amplify beautiful. You can say she's very beautiful. That's fine, because beautiful is not an already amplified or supreme adjectives. There are these already amplified adjectives. Example, wonderful, awesome, fantastic, terrific. Now, these are already amplified adjectives. You can never use very with these. Never say, oh, it is very wonderful. This is very mediocre language. Or very fantastic. We don't say that. But if you want to amplify an even amplified adjective, you can use a couple of adverbs, which are absolutely or really. So you can say, that sunset was absolutely wonderful. It makes sense. People use that all the time, no problem. The expression at all makes negatives stronger. Now, when you want to talk about something negative and you want to strengthen it, heighten it, highlight it, and you want to make it stronger, you say at all in the end of that sentence. For example, she's not selfish at all. You don't say she's completely not selfish, because completely is reserved only for affirmative sentences. So you say, he's not dishonest at all. All right. He's not focused at all. So you add at all in the end and it means completely. But again, remember, it's only used in the negative. Completely and totally, yes, we said that before. Completely and totally means 100%. He's completely honest. She's totally reliable. Whenever I ask her or I ask for her help, she's there to help me. One last thing, I'd like you to pay attention to the prefixes. You might be or might not be familiar with what we call prefixes, and these are little parts of the word that we add in the beginning of an adjective, and the purpose of them is they switch the meaning. They give you the reverse meaning of that verb. We use that all the time. Possible, impossible, normal, abnormal, patient, impatient, considerate, inconsiderate, right? So pay attention to those, and if you know how to play with them, you can have plenty of vocabulary, right? You don't have to learn a word at a time. All right, this is a speaking exercise now. I'd like you to pause the video, read each and every one of these entries from 1 to 10, and think of a real person around you. A real person in your life. Could be your sibling, your partner, your friend, a person who has this quality, and give me a little explanation as to why you think they are so and so. I'll give you an example. Totally laid back. Example, my boyfriend is totally laid back. How? How do you know? How do we know that he's totally laid back? He always goes along with my plans and everything, right? My father is pretty generous. Whenever I ask something of him, he just, if it's in his own power and capacity to do so, he would give it to me, for instance. So think of a particular person, different person for each quality, and give me a sentence. Voice it out. Go ahead. All right. Now, from then, we move to another listening and speaking activity. And in this one, you have to listen to who these people admire and answer these questions one at a time.
Page 5. 3. Listening and speaking. People I admire most. A and B. Listen. Who do these people admire? John.
Who do I admire? I guess I'd say my best friend. Yeah, my best friend Max. I guess I admire him because he has a lot of problems, but he's always smiling, He has a great sense of humor. And, we have a lot in common. Like, we're both pretty outgoing. I mean, we like going to parties and things. But we're different in other ways. Like, he doesn't get stressed easily. He's like totally laid back. Me, I'm always stressed. I'm not relaxed at all.
All right. So who does this person admire? I will leave the script window open here so you can pause the video, find the answer, and voice it out to me. But I mean, you can do this with the first person, John, but the second, Marina and Hiroyuki, you can just give it the first listening, internalize the info, and when I ask you, try to answer me from your mind. That's a good exercise for you and for your language. So, who does this person admire? Yep. Why? You can pause the video and answer. What do they have in common? Meaning, how are they similar? How, give me a thing or two that they are alike or that they're like each other. And finally, how are they different? What are the things that they diverge about or they don't agree on? All right, next person.
Marina.
Ooh, good question. My sister. She's really generous. I mean, she's always helping people. Like, she volunteers at a hospital on weekends and everything. We're very similar in some ways. Like, we're both into sports, and we're extremely competitive. Yeah, we both try really hard to win. But I guess she's pretty disorganized. You know, she doesn't always plan things well. And well, I am pretty organized.
All right, who does Marina admire and why? What do they have in common? She and her sister. And how are they different from each other? Finally, the last person.
Hiroyuki. Someone I admire? My art teacher. He's an extremely talented artist. I mean, his work is totally awesome, but he's very generous with his time. I guess we don't have a lot in common. We both take art pretty seriously. I mean, we both work incredibly hard to get our paintings just right. But I think our personalities are completely different. Like, sometimes he gets really impatient, but I'm fairly patient and easygoing.
All right, we come to an end of this recording. And same question for this person. Hiroyuki, who does he admire and why? What does he have in common with his art teacher? And how are they different? All right, now we come to an end of this lesson 2, in which supposedly you have learned how to describe people. If you realize the first and second lesson, they're all about describing people. But in this particular one, you're supposedly have learned how to amplify adjectives and make them stronger, make the qualities of those people appear more to the listener. So a last spoken exercise for you, maybe if you have time to do so. Choose a person or a couple of people in your life again and talk about them. Talk about them. You can do this just by yourself, stand in front of a mirror or don't, but talk about the qualities of people around you often. Do this as means of exercise, just to let the language out. And until I see you on the third lesson, stay well and take care. Bye-bye.